Hey folks, welcome back to the Beer Wrench Garage, and if it's your first time, like always, welcome to the Beer Wrench Garage. I know it's been a while since we've had videos, but it's been a busy and cold winter, and I'm fat and lazy, and it's hard to get out and make videos and got family stuff going on. But it's New Year and a new opportunity to do some good things. So today I want to bring to you a quick video on how to remove the little Audi VW, maybe some other Eurocar fasteners on their on these computers for these vehicles, right? They're not just you can't just move the plug and remove the plug. They put these like kind of security retainers in there. And I've went ahead and did this one as an experiment, so I could show you that it works, but I'll show you how I did that. Anyway, for today, you're going to need your ECM with your mounting bolts. You're going to need a angle grinder. This one is a really good one that I like, with a metal cutting disc. And you're going to need a good screwdriver, right? This one's a decent gear wrench one, not some pot metal screwdriver from, whatever, like a really good one. This is a good one. And obviously, you shouldn't be using a grinder without any kind of safety glasses. So some kind of protection for your eyes, and really some for your hands as well. Some gloves would be a good idea. I don't like to use gloves in these scenarios just because I like to have that tactile feel, but a good pair of work gloves, if you're into that, or like you're not, it doesn't take away from your ability to manipulate the tool, I would always recommend it. So let me bring you in and show you how I'm going to do this, all right? All right, so again, this isn't exactly rocket science. You just want to make a good vertical kind of cut into the screw, so you can use your screwdriver to turn it. Anytime you're cutting metal with metal, it's not a bad idea to get some lubrication on there. So we'll give it a hint or a little dab of WD-40 and make things a bit easier. I actually have cutting fluid, but this hopefully won't be a super long cut. If you have it in a vise, that'll work too, but I don't think it's necessary to have it in a vise. So cover your ears, and it'll take me a minute to get through this. All right, so if you saw what I did, I just took the grinder and I put this vertical little slot in that fastener, and I'm going to go ahead and take the screwdriver and turn it. Oh boy. This is why you need a good screwdriver, okay? So it's not quite deep enough. We'll get a little bit more depth. And obviously, you want to make sure not to cut through the case. Went with a little bit heftier screwdriver. Like I said, you just cut a slot and then kind of give it that little bit of a turn, and that'll get your fastener out. So the key is a slot that you cut, but also you got to have a good screwdriver too. All right. Let's give it a try this way. Oh, not yet. All right, let's upgrade the screwdriver for a bit. See if we have better luck on this guy. All right, so I made a couple mistakes here, and I'll tell you what mistakes I made. But I'm having a hard time with the regular screwdriver, so I'm gonna go ahead and try screwdriver sockets, so I can kind of get that the duck bill into the bolt and see how that does. I put not the ECU itself, but the bracket in a vise to give me some traction, I guess, or some stability, because the bracket and the ECU keep moving and I'm not being able to get that torque. And also with this screwdriver socket thing, I can really get some bite into that screw. So let's see if we can get her out. Oh yeah. Okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought. As you can see, I really mangled that the head of that screw. Let's try this guy. Okay, there's that. And we got a prize. The bracket will come off. And now you can get your connectors off. And so if this was on the car, obviously this would be connected to the harness. And I believe you pull this out and then the connector comes out. And then on the other end, you pull that tab out and the connector comes out. And so your ECU is now free. All right. Let me take a second. I'm going to get myself a drink and then I'll explain a couple important things here. All right. So that was a little bit of an ordeal. I thought it was going to be a quick video, simple task. And honestly, it should have been a lot simpler. Let me soothe myself with a drink here. I made one, maybe two mistakes on doing this. First off, when I was cutting the bolt heads, I had positioned the camera in a way to give you the best shot and not actually the best manner to stabilize the actual ECU. So the ECU kept moving, and that made my cuts sloppier and like wider and not as straight as I wanted. Like I said, because I was trying to get a good angle for the camera, and I wasn't really holding down on the ECU. And so here's the difference of two bolts. This one I did before I started filming, and you can see how it's narrower and straighter, and this one's a little bit more jagged and wider, and that's because there was movement going on in the computer. So mistake number one is either put your computer in a vise or just make sure you got some kind of like hold on it so it doesn't move, because you want that nice, smooth, and deep cut where it'll mate with your screwdriver much easier, right? Second mistake I made, and this is unplugged now, I used an old cutting wheel. As you can see, it's seen better days. Again, this wasn't supposed to be a very difficult cut, but given the fact that the ECU was moving, it turned out to be more difficult than it should have been. Lastly, what happened is I removed the 2 bolts. So this bracket goes like this on the ECU, right? I removed these 2 bolts before I started cutting into the top bolts, and that made the bracket loose on the ECU. So the ECU was moving and the bracket was moving. I was trying to cut, and so you ended up getting an abomination like this, right? So that was the third mistake, right? First mistake was I didn't hold down the ECU as well as I should have. Second mistake was I used a sloppy cutting wheel. And third mistake was I removed the bolts, the earlier bolts before cutting all the bolts, and that made even more movement. So lesson learned here is really just secure the ECU, make it nice and stable, and get your cut as narrow as possible. Because I screwed up my cut, regular screwdriver wasn't really getting that bite, and I had to kind of defer to these screwdriver sockets. Oh, one last part that I wanted to touch on. The securing bracket. This bracket has 4 bolts holding it on. 2 of the 2 bolts go into the actual body of the computer, and then the top 2 bolts actually screw into the bottom of the bracket, right? The ones that go into the bottom, or I'm sorry, the ones that go into the body of the computer are M6 by 0.75 thread pitch, and the ones that go to the bracket themselves are M6 by 1.0 thread pitch. In case you're one of those weirdos like me who wants to replace the bolts, and if you destroyed your original bolts, they're both M6s. The top ones are M6 by 1.0, and the bottom ones are M6 by 0.75. And then the other thing to kind of keep in mind is the front, those top bolts have freaking Loctite in them. So it's doubly important to make a nice smooth cut where you can really bite into it, because in all their wisdom, Audi thought it'd be a good idea to put Loctite on these bolts, which in my opinion, well, not even in my opinion, is completely unnecessary. But yeah, so the top ones have Loctite, makes them more of a pain in the ass. So if you happen to stumble on this video, please take that as kind of like a tidbit that'll help you. You can easily do this on the car. Make sure, as you see a lot of sparks, make sure to cover up any fuel lines or anything like that, like the engine, around the engine bay with some rags, so you can protect your self and the engine from any sparks. But just take your time, make sure you get the computer stable, and make good cuts. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it or learned something, please give me a thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe. Take a look at some of my other videos on the channel. Got a lot of car and tool content, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.